Our environment is constantly changing. We have had to adapt to our environment, and now our environment is having to adapt to our way of life. What do I mean by this? Well, it's the basic domino effect. When one thing changes, that leads to a multitude of other changes. Pope Francis, in his new encyclical Laudato Si, refers to our world as our common home. We all have our own homes, but Earth is our larger home, and we need to take care of it. Pope Francis calls to action that we need to be concerned with these issues because we are the ones causing the problem. We can't just sit on the sidelines and say, oh, someone else is going to take care of it. We need to come to our feet, and we need to get into the game. So what's the problem, you might ask? Well, there are many types of pollution, but today I want to talk to you about 3 different kinds: water, land, and air pollution. Let's begin with water pollution. This occurs when foreign or hazardous materials are introduced to our water. According to the EPA, 44% of assessed stream miles, 64% of lakes, and 30% of bay and estuarine areas are not clean enough for fishing and swimming. Some of the most common materials that contaminate our water in the U.S. include mercury, nitrogen, phosphorus, and bacteria. A majority of the pollution of water is due to runoff. An example of this would be when our water becomes contaminated. It affects our sanitation, and not everything can get properly cleaned. This can in turn cause many illnesses. This represents the domino effect, like I mentioned above. Okay, so let's talk about land pollution. Land pollution is something that we contribute to every day. The waste that we create every day goes to our landfills, and for the most part just sits there. Of all the trash that we generate, only about 34% of that is actually recycled. According to the EPA, we generate about 4.3 pounds of waste per person per day. Part of the issue with land pollution is that we use plastic everything today, such as plastic bags and plastic water bottles. The Great Plastic Bag Plague by Tara Lohan tells us that each year across the world, some 500 billion bags are used, and only a tiny fraction of them are recycled. This is crazy, but there is a simple solution, and I will get to that soon. Lastly, I want to talk to you about air pollution. Air pollution is hard to avoid because just like water and land pollution, we deal with it every day. Basically, this happens when something that should not be in the air is in the air. The most common type of air pollution is the burning of fuels or when little particles get into the air. Dangerous gases are another type of air pollution, and these can in turn cause smog and acid rain. Back in October of this year, you may remember the chemical spill that occurred in Atchison, Kansas. According to CNN, 2 chemicals were inadvertently mixed together, sending a gaseous plume into the air. This was a serious situation in that the whole town had to be evacuated, but this whole situation could have been avoided. That's the sad part. The big problem with air pollution is that it can take the form of greenhouse gases, which are warming the planet through the greenhouse effect. So what is the greenhouse effect? Well, this is basically when gases absorb the infrared radiation that is released from the Earth, which in turn prevents the heat from escaping. This then causes the atmosphere to be unusually warmed. This illustrates the domino effect. The air pollution affects our atmosphere, which then causes a warming, which hurts our environment because the heat should be able to escape. Besides the pollution, how serious is this problem that is affecting our environment? According to the World Counts, in the past 60 years, 60% of the Earth's ecosystem has been degraded. To date, we have extracted approximately 23 billion tons of resources from the Earth. This is not great because once all of these resources have been used, then we can't get them back. There are laws that protect our air and water. They are known as the Clean Air and the Clean Water Act. According to the EPA, the Clean Air Act was created in order to look at the public health and welfare risks posed by certain widespread air pollutants. The Clean Water Act was introduced, which establishes the basic structure for regulating discharges of pollutants into the waters of the United States. By following these 3 steps, you can do your part in helping our environment. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce. You can reduce the amount of energy you use by turning off lights when leaving your room. You can also reduce the time of your shower. Reuse. When you go to the grocery store, BYOB. Bring your own bags so that you can reuse them the next time you go to the store. Recycle. Recycle your unwanted papers, plastic bottles, your cans, and any unwanted electronics. These steps will not only help you reduce your carbon footprint, but there are specifically things that you can do to reduce land and air pollution. In order to reduce air pollution, carpool with friends, take public transportation, or walk or ride your bike. One way that you can contribute to a clean land is by printing double-sided pages rather than just one-sided. This way, you can reduce the amount of paper you use, which can help save trees in our environment. When you get done using your paper, make sure you recycle it. Not only does the domino effect apply to ways that hurt our environment, but it also affects ways that can help our environment. These changes are not going to happen overnight. It will take time for these changes to occur. We all can't sit on the sidelines and wait for these changes to happen. Like Pope Francis said, we need to take action and do our part. By simply using the 3 R's every day, reduce, reuse, and recycle, we can all be part of the solution in doing our part to make our environment a better place to live. Don't be the problem, be the solution.